All right, today we're going to give a little talk about motorcycle awareness. And it is a big problem in this entire country because a lot of motorcyclists have been in some terrible accidents and they've lost their lives. And it's a two-way street, but first we'll talk about a motorcyclist. A motorcycle enthusiast enjoys the freedom of riding on a road by yourself or with a passenger on the back, and when you're doing this you're enjoying the sights of where you are traveling, you're enjoying companionship of other motorcyclists, and if you have a passenger you're both enjoying the same thing. If you happen to be traveling on farmland or middle part of our country where there's all kinds of wonderful scents in the air, where everything is clean and fresh, that's what we ride for. That's why we ride. Now, things that we do here as motorcyclists, we try to make ourselves as visible as possible, but sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the protective gear that we wear is black. This is called a motorcycle jacket. It's made of pretty tough leather, and the reason you're going to wear that is not for the look of being a motorcyclist, but for the safety factor of if you do fall on your motorcycle, that you will be protected by leather. Leather absorbs a lot of the road rash, if you will. We also, a good motorcyclist, will wear jeans because jeans hold up pretty good if you happen to be scraping the road when you don't want to be. There are times when we are a little more visible with clothing like this. This will reflect at nighttime and you will be very aware that we are there. Sometimes you don't see much of us because we have helmets. That's the law here in Massachusetts. Sometimes there's a face shield, and the majority of the helmets just happen to be black, which makes us a little less visible. In times of warm weather, we will wear leather vests. These leather vests are there for the same protection. If we only have a t-shirt on, then this vest will help us if we go down, and it protects us a little bit from the elements. So what we do mostly when we're into our motorcycles, we try to make the bike be very visible on the road. We also play with our exhaust a little bit and make it a little bit noisy in hopes that cars will be alert that we're around them. The focus of a cage driver is you're supposed to be alert at all times when you're driving your car, but sometimes we focus on air conditioning, loud music. If we're running 2, 3, 4 people in an automobile, sometimes we get into conversation and we're not aware of our surroundings, whereas on a motorcycle you're aware at all times of your surroundings. So yeah, we have some loud exhaust, and then sometimes we may pull up beside you if you did something not correct on the road and tend to cut us off. So we're going to make you aware that you did a bad thing. But my freedom factors on a motorcycle is very important to me, and that time that I'm on my motorcycle, I want to be as safe as possible. And if I have a passenger on the back, I want that person also to be safe and sound to the best of our. So I want Jackie to talk a little bit about being in a car and what she does not like about motorcycles on the road. Jackie.
Well, what I've noticed is that when we're in traffic, motorcycles will go up like the dotted line on the highway. Is there any particular reason why that is?
If you're a good motorcyclist, you'll never leave your lane. You'll always stay within your lanes where you're supposed to be. Now, at times on a highway, when the traffic is jammed up and the cars are to a stop, it's very difficult for a motorcyclist to go, stop, go, stop, move 5 feet, stop. It gets very tiring, and you get weak. You get weak in the knees of holding up your motorcycle and balancing it and so forth. So we do tend to drift to the right and maybe use the breakdown lane, just so that we can keep on going. And other than fatigue factors of the rider, you also have an overheating problem of the motorcycle. They are air cooled, and if they sit still for too long a period of time in hot weather, they will overheat, and then they will stall and not start right away. So if you're in the middle of a traffic jam and your motorcycle has stalled, you now become a hazard. And that's why we tend to want to ride off to the right in that type of traffic. I know automobile drivers get angry when they see a motorcyclist going past them, and they say, well, we're sitting in traffic, they should be. The reason, they just have no clue that our motorcycles overheat, and that our motorcycles weigh between 500 and 800 pounds, and you need to balance that between your legs for a long period of time. It's not healthy. What else you got?
And then also sometimes young drivers will cut off other drivers on the road, whether they want to or whether they're just, I don't know how or why they do that.
I can understand that, Jackie. What the easiest way I think to explain that is, at a young age, we all have a couple of things going for us. Number one, we have no fear. Number two, we have the need for speed, and it's just part of our culture. That's what it's all about. So you will find young motorcyclists traveling unsafe and at high rates of speed, and sometimes taking chances that they shouldn't do. But we won't put it all on the motorcyclist. You can say also goes the same into an automobile. Young drivers tend to drive faster and take more chances than an experienced driver with age. The longer you've been on a motorcycle, more or less, I'm going to say, the slower you go, because you respect the vehicle that you're riding. And we all know that we do not have reactions are not as quick as they used to be, and just your reactions are not fast, so you tend to go at a slower pace. Whereas a young rider, sometimes they'll take advantage of an open space, and it's wrong, and they crash. And so be it. That's the way that it is, because we can't change that. If you happen to survive on a motorcycle for many years, you'll slow down.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay, so do you understand that if you see a motorcycle on the road, that a motorcycle, let's say that there's a group of motorcycles going down the road, and you're going to see wide spaces in between the bikes. That's because we allow a lot of space between the bikes so that we can make moves from one side of the road to the other, so that it gives us plenty of time of stopping distance between the bikes. A lot of people in cars think that those spaces in between the motorcycles are for them to cut in between us. That gets very frustrating when you're on a motorcycle and the cars are cutting in between us. Particularly, if it's group riding, we try to stay together, and it is also a much safer experience for us in a group, because you're safe by numbers, and people are aware that there is a motorcycle there and a whole lot of them. So we ride safe that way. A lone rider is in a lot of danger by himself, because people just don't see us, particularly when it's hot, air conditioners are on, and radios are blasting. I don't think anybody on a motorcycle intentionally drives recklessly. You have a lot of money invested in your motorcycle, costs a lot to insure them and take care of them and maintain them. And the last thing in the world that I want to do with my motorcycle is put it in jeopardy. I'm not going to make a crazy move that's going to get my bike tipped over, get me injured or something like that. So why don't you stop it there?